10 seconds early. Ooh. We are live. Oh. Are you on the Wi-Fi?
Nope.
Look, lost connection or something. Straight.
Excellent connection.
He's gonna have to come out. There's something wrong with our Wi-Fi. Excellent connection, but can't see ourselves. Is it his thing?
PlayStation plays havoc with, I think.
Will you tell him to come off whatever he's on? Thank you.
Christian, you on your PlayStation? On in the background? Take it. Connect to the Wi-Fi. Down here. And your game? No, we know, but we do. On airplane mode. Okay.
Are we live? Here. See.
That happened a while back, though. Remember, and everyone else could see us.
Can you see us? Evening. Hope all is well. The MRI. Yeah, there's people there. Let's see this. Can you see us, folks? Good here in Texas. So you can see us. Okay. Okay. It's just that we can't. The screen is doing a timing thing, and so I can't see if we're on. Although it's saying excellent connection.
There might be something wrong with your camera.
No. Yeah, they can see us. Yeah, sound and vision, very good. So it's just obviously a glitch with the. It's just a glitch with that, but it's a bit unnerving because when we do it and we can't see it there, you know. Of course, it is available on Spotify and Podbean if you ever want to listen to us on your podcast. If you ever want to listen on your podcasts, as opposed to, oh yeah, nice and sharp, as opposed to anything else. Right, so
Rory said we're both looking fabulous.
Thank you, Rory. I'm sure you're looking fabulous
Obviously,
as well.
Rory.
Thank you. Yes, indeed. So,
I don't want to talk about that before you ask me.
What is the point in having a podcast if you don't want to talk?
You're the talker. I only wanted to do it to give us something to do on Friday evening.
I'm wearing a shirt.
Oh yeah. How come you never got changed?
Just thought I'd dress up for tonight, Friday.
Aren't you very good?
Stop picking at me. You washed your hair. So, Mr. Ford, good evening. See the usual hardcore gang is here. Yeah, a bunch of bowsies. So you've nothing to talk about, even though this is your podcast, worst podcaster ever. You looked trim, brother. Look like I've lost weight, is it?
Michael Williams says, "Good evening, you lovely people."
Thank you, Michael Williams.
I know you.
That's a nice name, isn't it? Michael Williams, isn't it? Michael
This
Williams.
is Michael Williams live.
Yeah, my name's Michael Williams. Isn't that nice? Kind of soothing. I'm assuming Michael Williams, you do something like
Reiki treatment.
life therapy stuff for
Guidance counsellor.
Guidance counselling. You know, a name like that, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yeah, I think I'll go back to my maiden name actually for doing my life coaching.
And have the initials VD.
It's less of a mouthful.
You need to have a nice, memorable kind of name. That's why you need to be called something like, what was that name I liked?
Mark Marmajam.
Martin Marmajam. And of course I can't remember it.
Is it not Mark
Martin Mark Marmajam. There's nothing funny about Mark Marmajam. It's Martin Marmajam.
That's funny.
That is hilarious. Of course, apologies to Martin Marmajam.
From the IE.
First things first then. Obviously we were talking about Northern Ireland last week and somebody commented on it. It was Lee Van Fleet, I think it was. So hopefully we weren't dissing Northern Ireland. See, you know.
Why did they say we were?
No, he didn't. He just said it made him sad. What Lee Van Fleet said was there's a lot of moderate Protestants who want a united Ireland as well. See?
We had said that, I think.
There's a few misconceptions about us that are taken as fact, such as we can never use our sterling. Okay. We have a lot of successful small enterprises up here, but because of the lack of inward investment, unemployment is high in certain parts of the country, such as Northwest. A bit of help from our friends would be help. I like living in the North, but listening to your opinion of it makes me feel a bit sad.
Aww.
Yeah, and look, I see. I wasn't like we weren't trying to.
I didn't have a bad opinion of the North, did I?
No, but like what we were saying was like, I mean, I think I may have used the term basket case and stuff like that, you know.
Or
that's
or
a
when
bit
you
hard.
said
That's a
there's
bit
lot you
harsh.
can do with it.
It's a bit harsh, yeah. So apologies to anyone in the North. I didn't mean to offend anyone. What I was trying to probably do,
North.
not that I was not justifying myself, but I think if I offended anyone, was I was trying to draw a comparison between when we were a genuine basket case as a country, and there was a sort of moral superiority from, say, people looking at us. But I think now, as a country, we're sort of, you know, we're okay, we're doing okay, we're holding our own. And I think that anyone can kind of look down their nose at us. Now, saying that, when I go over to England, I'm mad. Like, you know, when you go to England and you see the level of development, because their history and all that kind of stuff, you're kind of, when I go to London and everything like that, it blows me away. It's only like, what, a few hundred miles away, but it's just, London itself is sort of like a different place altogether. It's just amazing.
Because it is.
No, I know that. But what I mean is, you know, when you go to England and you go to, say, somewhere like London or the large cities, you can just, the sense I get is when you go in, first of all, when you go in the train, you go into a train station like
But it's so much grander.
is it Liverpool Street or something like that? And you see there's like 50 sets of tracks, and then there's all these huge skyscrapers, and just you can just sense, you know, you can sense the gravitas of England because of its history and everything like that as well. Whereas in Ireland, we have a much smaller, we're a smaller country, smaller. Our history is more. It's not all about skyscrapers and having loads of train tracks. In Ireland, it's a different thing altogether, isn't it? But, you know.
Don't knock my country, bitch.
I'm not knocking it. I'm not knocking it. But we have...
But nothing.
Well, it's like if you see the States and you see they have these 7 and 8 lane highways, or when you see stuff from America in the 50s and then you compare it to Ireland, you can see how behind the curve we were as an agricultural economy. But we've kind of caught up now because it's all pharmaceuticals and IT, and obviously we're not a tax haven, but we have favourable rates, which Joe Biden is trying to do away with. Give us a break.
Is he?
Yeah.
Well, so was Trump.
No, well, I think every president has to come out, American president, I should say, because we have our own president. Every American president, I think, has to come out saying that they need to do something about the tax laws.
Our president's birthday was this week. I think it might be today, actually, or tomorrow. Or it could have been yesterday. I don't know when I heard it. He was 80.
Is that all he is?
Yeah, I would have thought he was a lot older than that.
Oh, yeah, I thought he was like 88 or something like that. He's a very smart man. Like him. Happy birthday to you.
Mickle D.
Mickle D Higgins. So anyway, so that's the thing. I just wanted to put that out there to Lee Van Fleet, that we weren't.
We certainly weren't intending on knocking the North.
Yeah, we weren't trying to.
Absolutely not. I love the north.
No, we do love the north, and but obviously the stuff that was going on there last week, the troubles and everything, or the riots and everything like that.
Is it?
Yeah,
or the media has certainly stopped covering it the way they were anyway.
Yeah, but it is terrible anyway. So, but moving on from last week's topic. Let's see. It's
very quiet evening. Obviously, the weather and the bright evening has a lot to do with it.
Subs are down. Air subs, is it?
Are they?
People are. Subscriptions, is it? Too late. Damage is done. Okay. Yeah. No. The subs are actually we're up to 2016. So I got my monthly report. We had 0 new subs according to YouTube. So, but I don't do it for the subs. Even if I had 1 subscriber, I'd be happy. I want millions. I want millions. I want millions because in the good old days, the dream was that when I thought I could make it huge on YouTube, I don't know why I can't, but I thought I could. And it'd be an independent living then. You know, you could get out of the 9 to 5. But saying that, I'm copping out because I could now as it is. You could cash everything in, scale down, buy a little bungalow in the middle of nowhere and live off the land, and I wouldn't have to work for anyone else ever again. You know? I could if I wanted. I don't need YouTube. But why don't I? Because deep down inside I probably enjoy this existence. And I think the thoughts of living in a little bungalow in the middle of nowhere with not a pot to piss in wouldn't be my cup of tea at all.
Because you like stuff, don't you?
I do like stuff. Yeah, but if you're a huge YouTube following, you could blag a load of free gear. As well, you know?
True.
So that's the thing. Well, the thing I wanted to talk about, an interesting thing is the thing that popped into my head was obviously another poor, unfortunate person in America, another black person has been shot by the cops.
Oh, controversial day.
And so, now we have to be, it's in the same way with Northern Ireland, right? What we have to be careful of is that there's like 400 million Americans speak, so you can't, in the same way, not all Irish people.
Make a sweeping statement.
Not all Irish people have red hair, drink too much, and so on and so all the stereotypical stuff, right? So you can't. It's not fair to judge America by the actions of a tiny fraction of the people, right? But there has to be some correlation between how they treat their black folks and how and I think then the whole school shooting thing. You know what I mean? There's some kind of there's definitely a screw loose or something somewhere, isn't there? With regards to how, you know, it doesn't seem to happen anywhere else. Now look, okay, you can say genocide in countries and wars and all that kind of stuff, but this thing, for as someone watching on, it just seems like an endless parade of school shootings, supermarket shootings, and you know, and then if it's but then if it's not that, then it's some other week some poor unfortunate has come across the cops and being shot, and I think the thing is now to say that the cop saying that she meant to taser him, and you kind of go, that just doesn't help. That does not help. You know, you're kind of thinking like, what? Not to bash the cops, or again, I have to state again, I'm not blaming. There's probably millions of police officers, and I'm not saying that they're all like that, but the press are having a field day over this. They love it.
I saw a post that there was a girl holding a banner, and she says, trained policemen are allowed, or trained officers are allowed, what was it, do something wrong in the heat of the moment and get a fright, yet civilians are shot dead for not remaining calm in the heat of the moment. You know that way, and you kind of go, yeah, it makes sense. It's something like that. That's not exactly what it was, but that's the gist of it. But
well, it just seems to be
40 mass killings this month.
It just seems to be the whole. Good evening, PJK. It just seems to be the gun culture piece seems to be bonkers. It's just,
You see, we
it's
don't
just
understand it.
no, I know, but it just seems. And actually, I think, is it the Second Amendment, and it's abused in that the Second Amendment. It's all about having a militia, but the militia in America, when they wrote that into their amendment, was what they meant was the army, a standing army, right? That's what they meant, not a militia, as in like, you know, local guys. So we could set up a militia, right? So we're not army, we're not anything like that. We're armed to the teeth, and we go around in case there's an uprising. So that's what it is. But really what they meant was the militia is meant to be the army, right? So what they meant was they had the right to bear arms as an army, as a country, you know, during independence and all that kind of stuff. But it's been turned into this thing about having a militia, and then you kind of go on. So it's kind of turned on its head. But anyway, so
Maybe they got it wrong, and it was the right to have bare arms, so they could go around wearing vests all the time, or having bears arms. Maybe they got it wrong all this time.
I'm
What
being
do you
serious.
think?
I'm being serious. And all I can hear in my head is, but you know. So I think. Good evening, we'll say. Yo, I think.
Good evening, Mr. Knight.
I think. Yeah. So there must be some kind of. So I was watching on YouTube, as I do. I was watching a video of it was auditing the audit, and some guy had gone in to he was carrying a rifle on his back, and he'd gone into a shopping mall, but he walked up to the door of the inside of the shopping mall, and he saw no guns allowed, and he turned away, and then all the security guards come over to him, but they were so hostile to him. And then, so he's one of these auditors, right? So what he's doing is he's pushing the envelope because of his Second Amendment rights and stuff like that. But the thing about this, you're looking at it and you're going, it's all very hostile. It's all, there seems to be such a level of hostility, and it all seems to be around guns. You know, it's just a lot of anger out there. But you just wonder, you know, you think, like, if they got rid of all the guns in the morning, you think would it be a better society, or what would happen?
They just go use knives.
No, I know that, but look, there's always going to be homicide, right? We're human beings, we're irrational things. At the end of the day, there's always going to be trouble like that. You don't need a knife or anything. You can use your bare mitts or your fists or whatever, like, you know,
Your bare arms.
Your bare arms, yeah. So, but it's just, I just think it's just
sad.
It beggars belief to see a plea. You know, the thing about it is, and then the other guy, he was getting the pepper spray or whatever it was in his face, and he's a lieutenant in the army. It's like, will you relax? He's a soldier. Like, I remember being in the airport. Remember in the airport, people going, "Thank you for your service," and remember people were clapping. They were clapping. We were in an American airport, and people were clapping all these soldiers heading through. And then to think, then we're watching some poor guy the face being, you know, blasted off, and the way he was in it, and I don't know. I see. I think the thing is, and these cops are all getting fired, right? So they're being sacked left, right, and center, and you're kind of going like, is a sort of my conspiracy theory is, right? My conspiracy theory is either they're trying to be fired, right? Because they're being fired over this. Or what happens is that it creates riots, and then there's all this overtime, and they're making a ton of money because it goes on for nights and nights and nights, and there's got to be some kind of upswing for. I don't understand, but I think the thing is that someone made the comment on Twitter saying just because he's a soldier, he didn't get special treatment. He didn't deserve special treatment. And you kind of go, no, but as a human being, he deserves a little bit of compassion.
Yeah, but whether he's a soldier or anything else, they did it before even, like, he hadn't done anything, hadn't he?
No, my understanding of the story is here now. So this is obviously, you know, through the media, but my understanding of the story is that they were pulling him over, and he was driving very slowly because, as a black man, he wanted to get to somewhere where he thought he'd be safe. He didn't want to just pull over on the side of the road, right? And that's quite understandable. So what he did was then he drove slowly, and because he drove slowly and into a forecourt, that just set them off, you know. So then again, because it's very difficult to watch because you know where it's going, right? You know what, you know, you're kind of watching it, kind of going, where's this going to go? I know where it's going to go. And then if it's not some poor unfortunate black person being shot by the cops and cops completely overreacting, it's some school or church or a supermarket being shut up. Like, how it's tolerated is beyond me. I can't understand it for a split second about how that kind of action is tolerated. It's mind-blowing, isn't it? Mind-blowing.
I'm sure it has something to do with the colour of their green.
Christian Tuscus. Is that Christian?
Oh, can I imagine it is, yeah. What's popping?
So guns are too integrated in US culture. That horse as well and truly bolted. Yeah, maybe, yeah. But it still doesn't make it. I can't understand it. And I think the thing now is that I'm getting not tired of it, but it is exhausting it's like, not again. And then it's not again.
But they don't even seem to be shocking anymore, though.
I know they are, V.
No, they are shocking in the sense that you can't believe, but they seem to be so regular now that it's just like, oh, another one.
No. I think the thing about it is there's always some level of variety, right? That's the thing. There's always some twist, but it seems to be that it's sort of like the guns are drawn. The kind of guns are out, and the level it's all just escalates so quickly, and then it just seems so dangerous. It's just scary stuff. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. It's just when I see it, I kind of go, not again, and it's every week. And then if it's not then if it's not that, then and then I think the whole thing as well, it seems to be the double standards of the whole thing about, again, I think I said this last week, about black people are protesting on the streets unarmed, and they're being water cannoned and tear gassed, and yet then there's white people standing outside government buildings armed to the teeth, standing there protesting. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to watch the tapes again, but when they stormed the Capitol buildings, it seemed to be mainly white people doing this. So, it just seems to be, it's crazy. It's crazy. Now we have our own. We have this. There must be a proportion of people who it's the same, but I just think in here the one thing we don't have is a whole lot of guns. Guns are controlled. The only people who have guns are, say, farmers mainly. And even that, you can lose your license. You can lose your license fairly pronto in Ireland to have a gun, So, and they need it. They need their guns for pest control and stuff like that as well, And then there's people who do like hunting. It's just the closest thing I ever came to it was I was working in a place one time, and we were doing. It was lean, right? So that lean business process and all that kind of stuff, right? And they brought over this specialist from America. And his trainee had kind of come over, his Padawan, right, had come over. And so I was listening to the two of them one day talking, and they were talking about guns, handguns. And then one of them was saying, do you open carry? And he goes, yeah, I'm licensed to carry. He says, I usually keep it in my glove box. But he said, yeah, I can walk around with it. You're not supposed to, you have to have, I think it has to be under your shirt or behind your coat. But they open carry. And you're kind of thinking, why?
Why do you need
why? It? But again, you kind of because it's a different culture. You're kind of going, well, I don't want to infringe on them in any way and upset them. But you're kind of going, these guys are teaching us, lean business practices, and yet the two of them are walking around. I think, to be honest, anyone, without sounding hypocritical, I think anyone who hunts animals and goes out to shoot animals and things like that as well, I definitely think there's something missing in them, without offending people. But I think the fact that you can shoot a deer, or these guys that go shoot elephants and all that kind of stuff, I just think I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
I don't get that. Anyway,
do the Garda carry guns or need a special branch?
Yeah, they carry them, yeah, and so
very few guards
very
few.
Very few here, yeah. But then you see, guns.
We've had a couple of fatalities in the last couple of years, though, with them.
Yeah, but they've really clamped down on the gun crime here now. They have, like, so it seems to, like, it was really bad there for a few years, wasn't it? But it seems to kind of calm down. But I think there was some Lithuanian gang operating in the country, and apparently they'd been all sent packing or locked up or something like that as well. Yeah. So, well, according to the news. So that's the thing. So look, I just think, I don't know. It's just sort of, it's really sad, isn't it? It's really sad to see that kind of stuff going on. And when you see it every week, it just seems, especially that guy, to think she was going to tase him. You're kind of going, now he obviously panicked and jumped back into the car. But, like, what was he going to do? Well, like, you know, he's going to drive off. Just
go after him.
Block the road. And, you know, like, I think the thing is he ended up, and then the only thing was her reaction was she did seem surprised by it. But I don't know.
But I suppose she seemed surprised by it, which is probably more surprising because you kind of gone, you were holding the gun in front of your face. Why were you surprised by it?
But you see, this is the thing. It's the heat of the moment. It escalates so quickly. You know. Now I can only assume that because there's so many armed people over there, and there's probably so many guns, illegal guns, knocking around, that it's a case of, you know, shoot, you know, fire first, or was it they say, shoot and then ask questions. So it could be they don't end up, see, we probably don't hear the stories about all the cops that get shot or all the near misses and all that kind of stuff. We don't hear about that. But, you know, again, I think the thing is the shooting up in churches and schools and all that, it's all, you know, I don't know, it'd make me, I think if I went to America and we lived over there and you're sending your kids to school, it'd be one of those at the back of my mind.
I think I'd be homeschooling.
Yeah. Like, it can happen here. It doesn't. It's never happened here. But it has happened in the UK. Remember up in Scotland, was it?
Yeah.
So it can happen, but nothing like that has ever happened here. And you see, this is the point I'm making, I think. It doesn't happen here because it's not sort of part of the cultural mindset. So someone kind of sees this and then they go, oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. That's what I'll do. That's what I'm going to do. Whereas here, it doesn't happen because it's just Dunblane. Yeah, it's not part of the culture. So people don't get it into their head and go, oh, do you know what I'm going to do? Because I think the thing is, like, you're not going to go down, well, you could go down with a shotgun or a hunting rifle, but, you know. Anyway, okay. So, that's, sorry, look, when I saw it, I just thought, it's just mind-blowing. You know, and it's not the end of it. That's the thing. That's the thing of it. And I think then, what was it? The case that's going on in the moment over, what's the chap's name?
George Floyd.
Yeah, and they were trying to say it was carbon monoxide poisoning. Like, talk about adding insult into injury. You know, you're kind of going, really? So I have no idea how it's going to work out. Now we have, because it's a case.
Philip makes a good point.
What's
there.
That?
It's not the weapon; it's the person with the weapon.
Yeah.
I suppose if the weapon wasn't so widely available, the person with the mental health issues wouldn't be able to get hold of it. So, you know, two wrongs don't make a right either.
Well, look, you can see in the UK they use cars and, you know, so there's terrorists and bits and pieces, like they use cars and knives, but they can only get a certain amount done before they're taken down. Whereas because you have these, you know, high velocity or high round guns, they can get a lot done, like, you know. So I don't know, it's very sad. And
we don't understand it because it's not part of our culture.
I think the thing for me is that when I see it week in, week out, and now look, you know, there's worse things happening. There are worse things happening, you know, in other countries, far, far greater atrocities. And because of the whole, you know, because it happens in America, it's big news and it makes its way over here and stuff like that, you know. But other than that, we've nothing else to talk about except COVID. So anyway, so that's me. I'm done. What do you want to talk about?
We better go, so.
What do you want to talk about?
I've had the most boring week ever.
Go on, tell everyone about it.
My parents are getting their first vaccine on Tuesday. Can't wait. That's actually literally the most exciting thing that's happened to me all week.
You're a terrible podcaster, Vanessa. You're a terrible, terrible podcaster.
Oh, well, then this will be our last one.
Come on. What else are you talking about? I hear you on those classes with people and you're talking a lot. So you can talk.
I don't talk a lot.
I do hear you talking.
What? On what classes?
When you're doing your guidance counselling with people.
Me career guidance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you talking. So you can talk.
Hmm.
Why don't you give some people some guidance counselling or something like that?
You hear me saying back to them what they're saying to me.
Yeah.
You hear me repeating.
Yeah. Well, I can't hear what you're saying word for word, but I just hear you, and then I hear you cackling or something like that.
Well, I wouldn't be laughing at them then.
All right, okay. Well, then I hear you then. And I do listen to you when you're teaching people to do the fitness classes.
Maybe I should teach a fitness class on Friday. Get everyone into their spandex. We have a vote on that?
Well, people will say they'd love to see that, but they won't do it.
Mm.
You know, and then you with your big bump. I won't be doing it. Not doing that. So
you'd be afraid you'd fart and squat at the same time?
Do you have anything to talk about then? We're out of lockdown. Are you looking forward to doing something within the county of Dublin?
Yeah, I think maybe tomorrow evening we should go for a drive.
Well, what I wanted to do was clean the van tomorrow. So I want to hoover her,
give the whole day because I'm in college from 9 to 5. So.
Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give her a wash, a clean, and then...
What are you going to do with the van?
I'm gearing up now we'll do the 5-year video, 5.25 years.
Yeah, but you're not to be making loads of noise now outside the...
What do you think I'm going to be doing? How would I make loads of noise washing a van? I don't use a pressure washer.
Well, you know what you're like. In and out of the door, in and out, in and out, in and out.
Oh. No, I just need to give her a hoover and give it a wash. And that's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow.
Don't forget to feed me child as well.
I won't forget to feed him. Do I ever forget to feed him? Yeah. He reminds me anyway to go down to McDonald's or something like that. Anyway, he loves these weekends. So yeah, so that's the plan for the week.
Final exam on Sunday morning.
Are you going to talk about that, or are you just going to keep interjecting sentences? Talk about it if you want.
I don't want to. I'm just saying. That's the order.
So we're allowed to travel around the county Dublin, which means we'll be heading to the beach. So that's what we probably should do actually tomorrow evening. Although I would murder a bottle of wine.
We can have it when we come back because I'm back in college on Sunday morning at 9 o'clock, so we won't be out all evening. Do you know what I mean?
And there's a bank holiday coming up as well, isn't there?
Next weekend.
And the worst thing about COVID and bank holiday weekends, you know the way they're such a treat. But in COVID, it's like whatever. Although I noticed a lot of traffic coming out of Dublin tonight now. It really has picked up. It was amazing. I probably never noticed it before because we have a super duper huge 3-lane highway out of Dublin, the N7, and it was really busy tonight now. Like really, like bordering on congested. You know.
It is warm. It's warm in Dublin at the minute. Pharmacists do it over the counter.
Warm. Well, you have to. What's that in centigrade?
It's 12.5 degrees.
12.5 degrees centigrade. I don't know what that is. There's a formula: multiply by 9, divide by 5, and add 32 or something like that. That's how you convert centigrade to Fahrenheit.
Or just pop it into Google. What's 12.5 degrees?
Just ask her. I got into this when we lived in Oklahoma. It's not as we think, but guns are everywhere.
3 lanes are how cute.
It's the loon. It's the loon. Yeah, and that's a major. It's the loony with the weapons. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, we read that. Is it cold in Dublin? Relatively speaking, isn't it? It's not too bad. Well, it was chilly this morning now. I was in Kilkenny, so it was cold down there. 3 lanes, yes. So that's a major road. So what's the M50? The M50 is a ring road around Dublin. Is that 4 lanes?
Only 4 lanes in parts.
3 with an auxiliary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's only when the exits are close to each other.
And it used to be 2. And you know, remember there was 1 bridge across the end, the toll bridge. Remember that? Yeah. So they didn't plan ahead. See, that's the thing about Ireland's development. They said we'll put in 1 toll bridge and a dual carriageway. Thinking we're grand.
They hadn't anticipated so many people having cars and the boom that took off. And
yeah. You know. But they should have, they should have just put in a huge highway, but that's the thing. Anyway, so double centigrade and add 25. Is that right? That's a rough, because I know mine's multiply by 9, divide by 5, and add 32, or the other way around, or something like that, I think. Whatever it is, okay. So, but that's a handy way to know. So what's that? So let's see now. So we said 12. So that's 50 degrees. Let's just see. So we said 12. So that should be, so let's see, 12 degrees. Come on. I have to switch out my Wi-Fi. What is this? Oh, that's my thing. Oh my God. 12 C in Fahrenheit. Whoa, 53.6. Very good. That's very useful to know. Oh, here it is here. Look, see, 12 degrees multiply by 9. Ah, it is, I know, multiply by 9 over 5. Is that plus? Is that a plus? Plus 32. Yeah. Multiply by 9, divide that by 5, and add 32. That's the official way of doing it. See there? I had to learn that in college. For our American friends who use Fahrenheit for some reason.
That's great.
Are you going to talk about anything? Are you going to talk about it? It's a mine of information, you bellend.
Your mind.
It's a mine of information.
Your
like
mind.
When people say the. You know, I'm going to get it wrong now. When they say the cold face, it's coal face.
Oh my God! Really?
Although I could be right to say I'm wrong now, but I think it is.
No, you are
people
right.
go to cold. Oh, it's up against the coal face. You go coal face. Now I used to correct them, but now I just go idiot. I don't correct people anymore.
I saw a grey T-shirt actually.
Go on.
And I thought of you immediately.
What?
It said, "In my head, I'm fixing your grammar."
There was one I saw.
You do that all the time.
There was one I saw and it was very good, and it was be Jesus. Remember we saw that?
The B and the
yeah,
Jesus.
It was a picture, a big B, and it had the face of Jesus on it. And because in Ireland we say be Jesus, and I thought that was brilliant. So I'm definitely going to get that. Be Jesus. People actually do say that here. Be Jesus, don't they?
Yeah.
Be Jesus.
Usually it's be Jesus.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the thing. So that's that. Let's see now. I'm Mr. Ford. I'm looking to make the rear seat adjustable recliner like the in Air T6. Very good. You're looking to make it. Actually, that guy Carl Beadle, I think his name is the guy I was talking about last year. If you look up his videos,
Sure, it's not Jeremy.
No, I think it's Carl Beadle because it sounds like Beetle. So I think it's Carl Beadle. If you look him up on YouTube, he is really, really, really super handy with the vans. But that's very interesting.
What does he mean? He's looking to make it a recliner.
You know the way RC, you know the way it reclines.
Yeah.
So Mr. Ford, I'd say, just has basically a seat, just a regular seat.
He's a T6 as well, though.
Like the 6.1 in our T6. All right, okay. I don't know. Maybe he's taking it out.
Was yours? Was Mr. Ford's just a regular Transit and he's converted it?
Probably.
Will you tell us that answer, please?
I think so. So, what was I talking about there? I was going to talk about something. What was it?
Unless he's talking about putting a recliner where your feet and all.
Oh, yeah. No. Carl Beadle. He's very good. Now, what's very interesting, though, is this is quite interesting, right? So, he's English.
The bed, a recliner, so that the bed tilts up. And you have a slant on the bed when you're lying down.
Oh.
That's like a hospital bed.
Oh.
That's a good
How do you know
idea.
that? How do you know he hasn't even said that?
He said the bed.
No, I have a California T6 Ocean. Oh, right. So you're going to make it so it does that thing oh yeah, that is a good, that is a neat trick. All right. That is handy. That is handy. Yeah. I'd like that as well, an Airvan. But what tends to happen is I tend to put up the roof, get up and go to sleep anyway. So, Carl Beadle, this is quite interesting, right? So he does all this van conversion stuff and everything, but he doesn't get huge views. Now he gets a lot more than us, right? Way more. But he's ticking the boxes. He's English, right? He's a mechanic of some sort. It's vans, and he does VW conversions and stuff like that. And yet he doesn't get huge views. And I wonder why. So your homework for this week, you're doing it, right? Go and look up Carl with a K Beadle and watch his videos and tell me what you think of him. He's real quirky. And I wonder
You do not like the quirky.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, to be honest, I think the English people who like vans would watch anything about vans, if you know what I mean. No offense, but I think he's would. But when I saw his video channels, I was thinking, because he's around quite a while, but he doesn't seem to have a huge following. And I was kind of going, it's really strange because his videos are really good. He did this cool video. What he does is he flies drone. He's a drone pilot, right? And he inspects in buildings with drones. And his drone crashed inside this huge warehouse, and he couldn't get to it because it's condemned, basically. And he had to send in a remote control car and hook. He's really clever, right? So he hooked it and then dragged it up. But it was real difficult because the ground's covered in all, bits of plaster and everything like that. So the wheels are slipping. And I watched it, and he's a really nice approach to him. And there's just something very nice about him, I think. But I think maybe either the algorithm doesn't like him, or it's not promoting him, or people just don't seem to be following him.
No stranger than folk, Jay.
I like him.
Well, there you go. That's why.
I like him.
Once you've endorsed them, people are
going to watch him. Has anyone watched him? I think he's very good. So I wonder, does anyone ever say about our channel that they watch us and they think we're great?
What did he bought? He bought that tray that pulls out, works well under the bed. I don't know what he means by that.
It's in the boot side. You know the way you can get the thing and all the stuff comes out on it. Yeah. It's on the to-do list. That and the bungee cord. That's what I'd like to get. That and the bungee cord. But to be honest, because we were paying for the van, we were fairly strapped up till recently. In that, like, it ate into a huge amount of our disposable income, and the bulk of it. And we just finished paying for the van, so I was going to invest in all these things. But then Vanessa went and got pregnant. So we can't have any fun now.
I made myself pregnant, by the way.
Immaculate conception. So I won't be getting any of those things. So if anyone wants to make Carl Beadle, he's very good. If anyone wants to donate, stuff, look him up. I think he's quite good. I like him. I think he's kind of queer. And I'd say if you guys watch us, you'll probably like him.
And if you can't remember his name,
thanks, Wilsey.
Just think what Joe Beadle's about.
Well, someone wrote it down and I've said it several times, so.
Yeah. Just think of me singing.
Okay, so you have 18 minutes left. What do you want to talk about?
Well, originally these were only supposed to be 45 minutes, if memory serves me correctly.
Really?
Yeah. And then you kind of...
No, 45 minutes. Well... This is my one fix of the week where I get to talk about whatever I want to a relatively captive audience, and
more like a relatively captured audience.
We don't talk other than we don't talk anymore.
Do we not?
No, we don't. We don't talk. We don't, because you're always analysing me. It's always I feel my brain being probed by you. You do. You're always probing me with your mind probes and your counselling witchery stuff that you're up to. And what does that mean? And how does that make you feel? And what does that remind you of? That's what it's like. I'm permanently on the couch with you. I just liked it when you were just a simple country bumpkin that I met.
Well, I was never a country bumpkin now.
Do you know what I mean?
The big smoke.
Yeah, that was my favourite. I don't think we talk anymore.
Do we not?
This is the most talking I do in one session, because I curb it now. I actually do. I know I talk a lot on this. This is what I used to be like all the time. But now I don't. I'm really conscious of not talking at all. That's true. That's true. I know it's hard to believe, but I am very conscious of it. The two things I try not to do anymore is talk incessantly, right? And shout. And what's the other thing? Because when I talk, I have a tendency to start shouting, don't I? I get really worked up. What's the other thing I don't do?
Give out about people.
Give out about people. That's it.
You've just been giving it about me there, so
that's it.
You've fallen.
So I don't. He looks like Ed China's twin brother. Yeah, he does look a little bit like him, and he reminds me of him. He's kind of quirky and nice like that as well. Like, the thing I admire about him though is he's so good with his hands.
Who's Ed China?
Ed China. Remember the guy that used to do? Remember I used to love watching the cars. Remember your man would buy one, and then he'd fix it up, and then they'd sell it. What was the name of the program? But then what happened was they had a bit of a falling out, and Ed left, and now they do it. Remember I used to watch it all the time? I have terrible memory. Anyway, giving out about giving out about people. This is something that's of interest, right? I used to give out a lot all the time up till relatively recently, right? About people and things, and I'd complain and give out all the time. Give out is the Irish wheeler dealers. Thank you. Giving out is the Irish term, not giving out stuff. It means bitching about people, I suppose, isn't it? Or he didn't do this and I do, and all that kind of stuff, right? So, but I think it's cultural here in Ireland, isn't it? And I think what I've tried to do now lately is stop that in its tracks, which is very difficult because I think it creates momentum within itself. And I think complaining and giving out about people, we've had this discussion when we do talk, is that you
wait till I get you off this camera.
It's toxic to yourself, but on some level addictive. And I think it's a vicious circle that you can't get out of. That the desire and the need to bitch and moan and complain about people is just builds and builds on it, and it's a never-ending thing. So what I try and do now is I actively don't do it, and then if I do it, I'm kind of conscious of doing it, and I feel bad about it. I feel like I let myself down if I do it. But what do people think about that? Do you think? Is there anyone out there who can say honestly that they don't give out about people? You know, that not that kind of like someone comes up and punches you in the face, right? I'm not saying you can't give out about them. Of course you can. But that kind of incessant complaining and giving out about people and every little slight and, you know, having to go over everything all day long. Like, you know, like when I come in, the compulsion for me to tell you things. It's not as bad now as it was. But remember, I used to talk a lot about it and I'd be incessant and everything like that about it. But I think the thing is now that I've tried to stop it, I realize how addictive it is. Like it's as addictive as alcohol or fags or anything. Cigarettes, fags are cigarettes. It's as addictive as
the compulsion.
Yeah, it is. It's just unbelievable. What's your thought of that, Faye? In the next, talk about that for 3 minutes.
What's my thought about you doing it, or what's my thought about
people in general? That is a great song. We Don't Talk Anymore by Cliff Richard. I love that song. And what's the Witchy Woman? Great. Anyway, go on. Not Witchy Woman. Is it?
Just the Devil Woman.
Devil Woman, yeah, brilliant. Go on. What do you think?
What I think about that is, as I was saying to you this morning when we weren't talking about it, because we weren't talking.
We don't talk.
I'll be joking. But I think we do all do it, and you are right. It is very much ingrained in Irish people to do it, to give out and to bitch and to moan, to begrudge and all that sort of carry on. But I think, as I was saying to you, when you catch yourself doing it, to not give out about yourself, acknowledge that you've done it, and move on. You know, that way, because it does, you're right, you get caught in a vicious circle of giving out and moaning. And as I was saying to you, like, even obviously I'm not in an office anymore, but when I was, the environment was so toxic. And it was just like, you remember hearing the stories, it was unbearable some days to go in. Even to the point that you'd see someone getting up and going and grabbing another coffee, and you're going, they're going for another coffee. You know, that kind of way that you just, and they were the sort of things that'd start to kind of get in on top of you, and you just start giving out, and then you start seeing fault in people, and it's just a circle, and it's everyone, and it just brings everybody down. Well,
I think personally myself.
So I suppose to put it into context, there would be someone that you would know that you would give out about until recently quite a lot, and had huge issues with them quite a lot, and it became such an issue that Christian actually dreamt about them a few weeks back. You know, so that's where, and having never met the person, only through listening to you talking about them, it was on his little mind, you know. So that just goes to show the effect that it can have. It's not just you that it's affecting, it's everyone around you that it's affecting.
Yeah. And so, but I think me personally, I have been trying to cut out the triggers, which are people, right? Let's face it, people are what trigger me, and I don't get really annoyed about much other than people. So it's the kind of
people's behavior,
the white van man effect on you, where you'd be going mad over stuff and everything, but then you'd be doing that all day long with everybody and anyone. But I think the thing I've noticed is, and you know what I'm like? I'm like a reformed smoker. I'm like that. That's what I'm like. I'm like a reformed smoker. I never give out about anybody. But it's what happens is that when I'm around people, I can see that they have the virus. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to draw you in to complaining, giving out about people.
Well, they're like vacuums. People that are like that. You know the saying, misery loves company.
Yeah.
But people that are like that are like vacuums, and they actually draw the energy out of you.
Yes, and that's the point I'm making. And you see, the thing is, I used to go around exhausted from dealing with people, right? So I'd be kind of knackered tired all the time. And that's what it is. And you hear these things about saying, man, you're bad for my karma, or you're bad for my energy and stuff like that as well. I do visualize that now of being around people. So what I try and do now is when I'm around people who are negative or anything like that, I do try and back away or end the conversation as quickly as possible to get away from them, because I do find I'm giving out about people now. So, but I just think what happens is that I think if you can, it's super difficult, right? It's really, really, really difficult not to do it, because I think it's ingrained in us to complain and give out about people, and to, let's face it, like to hate on people, right? And I think when you try and get out of it, then you're kind of in a bit of a bubble, but then people kind of come in and poke into your bubble from their bubble, and they're trying to bring you in, and all of a sudden then you have to be really vigilant. You have to really watch. There's that kind of a little taste. Oh yeah, got a little taste to give it out about somebody. Little bitching moment there, and boom, you're gone.
That happens when probably your energy is low, or you're feeling a bit kind of vulnerable.
No, not with me. It doesn't.
Doesn't it?
No.
Well, probably 99% of people.
With me, it's the opposite. If I'm a lot of energy, then I really go, I'm going to go mad on you. It's when I don't have energy, because of my introverted nature. But when I'm with people, I'm kind of going, I feel like they're going, go on, you know you want to. And you're like going, oh. So you have to be kind of vigilant not to do it. But I think, like giving up the cigarettes, I think if you can get off it, and all of a sudden then you can run for the bus or go up the stairs, and you start to feel the benefits of not doing it, you kind of go, do you know what? But it's really, really difficult. But I think the point you're making is that if you fall back, don't beat yourself up. But you should try and turn that energy into something positive, of trying not to bitch and give out about people, you know? And
the thing as well in CBT will be to, like, if it's something that's really kind of blocking you and you can't move forward from it, it'd be to take a little emotional diary. So when you notice that you're doing it, write down.
No, I can't do that.
No, but I'm just saying it's not only for you. That's a tip for other people.
All right.
You know, it's not all about the J show. To write down how it makes you feel at the time when you're doing it, and then you'll notice, and slowly but surely you'll start to see a pattern in your behaviors of the type of triggers that are around you.
Well, I know what it is.
People. Yeah, you know what it is. Maybe all the other guys don't know what their trigger is.
People, for everybody. It is.
No, not necessarily.
It is.
No.
It is.
The majority of people's triggers are emotions. Not people.
That doesn't make sense.
It can be related to a person.
It's people.
Or it can be related to yourself, how something makes you feel.
The thing I think, you see, what's interesting is, if you look at clickbait and the most watched videos, right? They're videos that are, so if I noticed the video, when we did the podcast a couple of weeks ago, I put up the video, and in it we said selling the Cali. and the video got a lot of views. So people were curious to see if we were obviously selling it or this, that, and the other stuff. So there's a negative connotation to that, right? And people were kind of tuning in for that to kind of go, oh, are they selling the Cali? Curiosity. I wonder what's happened in this, that, and the other stuff. So we're drawn to negative situations because apparently it's not happening to me, it's happening to them. Phew, I feel lucky kind of thing, right? But I think that whole giving out about people as well is it doesn't help. It doesn't giving out about people and moaning about people and complaining about people all the time is just, it does the exact opposite to what you think it would do. You think it makes you feel better, but it doesn't. It's like it just doesn't. Me personally, it doesn't.
For most people, it's a distraction from their own problems. It's because they don't have to look at their own issues.
Well, maybe, but I think the thing for me is that I think it makes you feel better, but it's like crack cocaine or something like that. Not that I've ever had it, but I think it's like that. It's like it makes you feel better, but the minute you stop, you're withdrawn from it, and then you're kind of drawn back to it. And I think it's addictive. And I think like crack cocaine and everything like that, you'll end up no teeth, living in a cardboard box, turning tricks for $5. That's the extreme of it. It is. I think it's so corrosive. We're nearly out of time.
You are right, but I don't think you'll lose your teeth. That's an old wives' tale.
We're nearly out of time. So that's it, folks. Thank you very much for all the comments, guys, and showing up. It's interesting. Some evenings the comments are kind of very limited. I'm just assuming it's because people are fascinated by
what I was saying.
What you were saying. So, you know, or is it like ASMR? Are people using us to go to sleep or wake up? You know, scare the kids, that kind of stuff. So thank you very much. We're going to go off and watch Gogglebox.
They're using us in the gap between Corrie and Gogglebox.
Probably, yeah. So there should be a video in the next few weeks. I was out and about. There'll definitely be. We'll be back and we'll get out. Vanessa has our classes this weekend, so after that we'll probably get something done. It'll either be the 5-year video or it'll be something else. And I don't know what the implications for the podcasts are though, because we're not here on a Friday. I wouldn't want to do one on the road because you don't want to broadcast. You're not here. No. You know, but obviously if we don't do one. Of course, the baby will be along here in a few months to ruin everything anyway, so. Won't it?
Well, you won't be here anyway, because I'm kicking it out after tonight's show.
Yeah.
That'll give you something to talk about.
Well, what we can talk about next week is, has anyone ever had an MRI scan? I have to go for one on my head. Don't I? So if anyone's had an MRI scan,
it's only a matter of time, guys.
I have I got an ear infection about 5 years ago, and it's a reoccurring ear infection that I have, and I've had 3 of them now in the last little while, haven't I? So people are going to come on now and start telling me it's brain tumor, all that kind of stuff and everything, right? Brain. So but it's a reoccurring ear infection, so I have to go and get an MRI scan. So that's going to be something to talk about in a few weeks.
Pharmacist steward over the counter has had 5.
Have you?
Sure, why have 1?
Well, yeah. Why do you need 5? Look what we found. Come back. Give us a go again. So I'm going to go and have a look at one because my ear, I have to get these antibiotics for it. It's quite warm now.
Maybe if you kept your finger out of your ear, it wouldn't be getting irritated.
Quite warm, yeah. So, yeah, and I get a slight ringing in my ear. It's quite annoying. But anyway, so that's coming up.
Your hair cut. It's causing too much issues.
That's coming up soon. So we're going to go then.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Thanks very much for tuning in. And don't forget to 4 likes. That's brilliant. Thank you so much. We appreciate all the likes, all the love. And we'll see you next week, presumably.
Kiss.
Are you going to talk to me now?
No, definitely not now. You're at home.
Right, so now, lower back, both knees, torn meniscus and left wrist. And they give you MRIs for those. 50 plus and we fall apart. Yeah, I know, it'll be 50 this year. Although I've had this since for the last 5 years, haven't I? It was a wicked bad ear infection I got years ago. It was really painful and it's been causing me problems ever since. So something going on in my ear, my cochlea I said, or something. So say goodbye, V.
Goodbye, V.
See you, folks. God bless. God bless.